we've been putting just a solid one color on top of each object. You might want to put a little highlights with different colors, or if you know how to paint or even draw too, there is some different kind of colors in the highlights or slight different colors in the shadows to give more of the depths. And that you can do after you are done with the overall coloration like this. I would say I don't have the background color, but say I'm mostly done and I would like to give the fine tune of the highlights or shadows in different colors. In that way, you will like to not have the selection, but you like to do more of the freehand way of coloring. I'm going to make a new layer. I created a new layer, right? And I'll call it Final Touch or something that you can see. This layer, you will put some color over it. Really subtle colors with brush tool. I would give a little warmth, for example. I like to have a little warmth of, say, light instead of just white. I would have large brush, soft edge. I'm going to actually just angle it. I tend to like the angled brush. And then have a lower opacity of color. If this is 100% opacity, this looks like this. Also, another thing is because I'm putting the paint over, it's obscuring what's underneath. If you like to avoid that, you will like to change the blending mode of the layer to something called color. Right now it's normal blending mode, but change it to color. Then my paint wouldn't obscure. It's just giving the color, but every texture underneath shows up. So that's good. Opacity of the brush, I'm going to make it really low. And just to give it a little it's like, do you see? Just really slight things. It may be too much actually. This may be too much. I might even go to like 10% or so. I'm gonna give it a little final touch. And then you can change the color again to even slightly darker, and then I'm not really a painter, so I should probably bring in a painter. But and here too, if you like to, you can put some of the colors. This probably is going to be very helpful, especially if you are, say, coloring somebody's face. Because somebody's face, the skin tone is not just a solid whatever color. It has warmer colors in certain areas, cooler colors in some are, well, not so much cooler, but warmer tones. So you can put some colors on top in this fashion too, after you are done with overall adjustments. Also, this one, you can fine tune it by changing the opacity of the layer too. So there are lots of fine-tuning possibility. Like here too, if the door frame color is too solid and strong, you can fine-tune it, make it more subtle by changing the opacity if you like to. And then also, if you like to feather the edge of the selection, that will look more natural actually. My selection becomes feathered. My selection used to be really solid. This was my original selection. But then as you feather, it's softer, therefore it blends better overall. And if you click onto the mask area, you can feather it by changing the slider too. This I will talk about it again next week too. The Photoshop, the reason why I use Photoshop primarily is this masking capability, and I know you can do a masking in Lightroom too, but you have ability to have all those layers, and then also this mask you can control much more so in Photoshop, in my opinion, than doing it in Lightroom too. So if this idea of mask and layers are extremely important when you are adjusting photographic images in Photoshop. Okay. If you are putting the color on the final touch layer, you do need to select it and then erase it. Like for example, this. Do you see the color? It's really subtle. Here, if you mess up, then you select. You know how to select now. And then delete with delete button on the keyboard. Make sure that you're on the final touch layer. I'm going to deselect. Okay.